Hey friends, Pastor Tommy here. It is March 19th and it's time for another Corona Devo. Today I'm going to talk about Deuteronomy chapter 7. If you're familiar with the Bible, you remember in the first 5 books of the Old Testament basically is about Israel, and God has delivered them from Egypt and out of slavery, and they've crossed the Red Sea, and all of the Charlton Heston stuff has happened by the time you get to Deuteronomy. And so you get to Deuteronomy, and God reminds them right before they go in the promised land, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you everything, this land flowing with milk and honey. I'm going to give you victory over your enemies. I'm going to give you cities that you didn't build and fields that you didn't plant. And I'm going to deliver you from illness. I'm going to send hornets ahead of you to drive out the nations, all of this stuff. But, and then we get to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 22. He says, but the Lord your God will clear away these nations before you little by little. You may not make an end to them at once, lest the wild beasts grow too numerous for you. That's one of those kind of verses you could just skip over in your daily Bible reading when you're sort of falling asleep, but it's really important. Why? Because of this. Because God reminds them, He knows that Israel is just like you and I. That even though He's given them everything, even though they're sort of living this cushy lifestyle, if you will, even though they're in the desert, He's giving them food, He's giving them everything. He knows that eventually when they go in the promised land, if things don't happen the way they think they ought to happen, that they're going to start complaining. And he's reminding them, I'm not going to drive out the nations all at once, because if I drove out the nations all at once, something else would hurt you. In other words, I'm reminded of this all the time. Whenever something bad starts to happen in my life, and my wife reminds me of this as well, Tommy, what do you think God is guarding you from? In other words, I'm a complainer, right? I'm complaining about the coronavirus. I'm not redlining the fund meter. I'm ready for this thing to be over. And Judy reminded me, what is God maybe guarding us from with this coronavirus? Is there something worse that we don't know? You see, He has the big picture in mind. We don't. And so what that means is we have to trust Him or not trust Him. And so I'd leave that challenge before you today. Are you going to trust the one who has a plan for everything, and a good plan? You know, it reminds me when I was younger and my girls were young, every now and then I would say, all right, everyone get in the car. And they'd say, where are we going? And I'd say, you have to trust me. And at least one of them will go, come on, it's going to be good. Now, mind you, 100% of the time, it was good. It was ice cream, or go to the candy store, or it was go to a park. It was to do something fun. And yet the human heart doesn't believe that all the time, right? And we don't believe that all the time either. Like, even though God has promised that He has a plan, and ultimately that plan is to do us good, we don't believe that. And when we don't believe it, we start to complain. And when we start to complain, we start to get bitter and angry and miserable. Don't be that guy. Let me remind you, as I'm finishing off here, this coming Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we will be streaming live. I will be streaming live with a bunch of help from people in the church. And I'd just love for you to join us. You need to, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we're also going to do it Facebook Live. YouTube's probably the easiest way. And so this is a great time also for you to, if you're a member of New Hope, to share this with your friends and all this kind of stuff. And also, finally, that as we're doing this, Pastor Samuel will be interacting with you. So when I'm preaching, I'm going to be doing Samuel will do the interacting and chatting. And when Samuel's preaching, I will be doing it. So this is a good time. I know you're Presbyterian, most of you, and you're not really into like interacting, but let's do it this weekend. So you guys have a good weekend. We'll be seeing you on Sunday. God bless you.